baby. Welcome back to Deediets. How are yas? Listen, today we're going in the kitchen. I know what you're thinking. Denise, what are we cooking today? Eggplant Parmesan. That's what we're cooking in the kitchen today. I know, doesn't it sound delicious? I have a father-in-law who's 92 years old who lives only 4 doors down from me. 92, living in his own house, taking care of himself. Isn't that fabulous? I think it's just fabulous. But certain things he cannot do, and he loves eggplant Parmesan. After all, we're Italian. We love our eggplant. And he's going to be very surprised that I'm going to make it. But I'm also going to do a version using almond flour instead of breadcrumbs. So 1/2 of that eggplant will be a traditional eggplant using breadcrumb. The other half of that eggplant will be used with almond flour. So I'm really excited to see how that tastes because I've never fried with almond flour before. So I can't wait to see how that's going to taste. Very simple ingredients: eggplant, good olive oil, good Parmesan cheese, and of course my own homemade sauce that I will use because a lot of sauces have sugar in them, traditionally in the jars at the grocery store. So I have my own where it's, of course, no sugar added unless it's the natural sugar from the tomato. So I just want to make a version that's just a little bit different. Anyway, so let's head into the kitchen and let's start this process. It should be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Okay, so we're in the kitchen and I have some almond flour. I also have regular breadcrumbs, my homemade sauce, hello, and 2 smaller size eggplants, but they're really, really firm. They're really, really firm, and they're fabulous when they're firm. And then I have a little bit of fresh mozzarella to put inside the eggplant because it'll be really good. So the first thing you have to do is peel the eggplant. Some people leave the skin of an eggplant on. I don't. I take it off. I want it tender and delicious. The oil that I'm using is an olive oil blended olive oil for the frying of this. And let's start peeling. Okay, so first I take off the tops of the eggplant and a little of the bottom of the eggplant so it sort of can sit up nice. And then I start trimming the eggplant skin off of the eggplant because this tends to be extremely tough, and I know they do sell eggplant frozen in the grocery store, but typically they leave the skin on, and to me it just never fries properly. So let's start peeling. Are you going to be interested in watching me peel? I don't think so. You could put it in. It's so small I can literally put it right in my hand and peel it. And when it's firm like this, really easy to peel. Well, I'm going to peel these up and then I'll come back. Okay, they're peeled. There we go. Now, I like a thin cut eggplant. I don't know about you, but I like it cut thin. You know, not too thick. There we go. It looks like it's maybe 1/4 of an inch thick. And you don't have to be so precise because I'm not using a mandolin. So I'm just using a knife, and that's it. I'm just going to cut that up. So easy, isn't it? And remember what I told you about eggplant. If there are black seeds in the eggplant's going to be bitter. It's going to be bitter. So the fresher the eggplant, typically you're not going to find any seeds, black seeds anyway, because they tend to be bitter. But you can also put it in salt, put a little salt on top, and that sort of drains the water out of an eggplant, and it also, they say, takes the bitterness out. I don't know. I don't know if that's true. But eggplant seriously is delicious, and it really shouldn't taste bitter at all. So I'm going to cut them both up, and then I'll come back. Okay, they're all cut up and ready for the almond flour. Oh, I think this is going to be so different. I'm so looking forward to it. I hope it tastes good. I really do. So in a bowl, I'm going to crack some eggs, and you know me, I always crack eggs to make sure there's nothing in the egg that I don't want in there, and I'm just going to put it in a separate bowl. And I'm going to start out with 4 eggs. Oops, let me just put this in there. Because you never know. You could have a bad egg. And then it would ruin everything. Okay. So I have 4 eggs going in a bowl. That's easy. And now I'm just going to get a fork. And I'm just going to whisk them up. You really want to break up that egg yolk. I'm putting no seasoning in with the egg. You can if you want. I'm just not going to. I'm going to put some seasoning in my almond flour, that's for sure. See? Easy breezy. And just put it aside. Now I'm going to use, just so that you know, I'm going to use an 8x8. This is an 8x8, and this is glass. You can use a foil one, or whatever you have in your house, but it's an 8x8. And 1/2 I'm going to do with the traditional breadcrumb. And the other half I'm going to do with the almond flour. I know. I'm so excited. I cannot wait. Okay, so what I did is I took my own seasonings. So in here there's a parsley, there's some basil, there's some oregano, some chili flakes, no, chili powder, I'm sorry, a little chili powder, and garlic powder, and a little bit of salt. So that's my seasoning agent for my almond flour. So I have my almond flour. I'm going to grab some of that out. There you go. That's what it looks like. I use Anthony's Premium California Bleached Almond Flour. And I'm just going to stick a cup and maybe a cup and a half of almond flour in the bowl. And I'm going to put my seasonings in and just mix it up. You know what I always say, God gave you hands for a reason. It's really simple just to mix it up. There we go. It's very fine. It feels just like flour to me. But it's now seasoned almond flour. Fantastic. You just move this bowl over here. Okay. And let me get my eggs. That'll make it easier. It's almost like an assembly line. Let me grab a dish. I have one on my stove. There we go. And we're going to take our eggplant and we're going to put them in the egg mixture. And we're going to put the egg in, let it drain, and then put it into the almond flour, the seasoned almond flour. And then I'm just going to stick it on a dish, as you can see right here, until I have basically all the ones with the almond flour on it done. And I'll be back. And they're all coated with the almond flour and the seasonings. And just so you know, the seasonings were a teaspoon of each of the seasonings. And you can make it to your taste. But now we're going to get started this to fry up. Oh my goodness, I can't wait. So I'm bringing my oil up to temperature. Just so that you know, this is the oil that I use, Pompeo Extra Virgin Original with the canola oil. So it's a nice blend of both of them, especially to fry foods with. And I like the taste of olive oil, of course, in my food. But for really good things where I'm just going to use raw olive oil, I'll show you what I use here. I'll always use something like this. If I'm just going to coat a vegetable, not going to cook with it, I'm just going to eat it raw just the way it is, over salads, vegetables, that kind of thing. And it's delicious. So, temperature is coming up. Now we're just going to keep that on a medium heat. Because remember, almonds are nuts. So, let's see what happens. Start sticking them in. And we're going to fry them up. In the pan, I put about, I will say, about a cup of oil. I know it seems like a lot, but you really do need at least a cup of oil to fry your eggplants really well. So I'm going to let these cook. I'm going to fry them all up, And then I'll show you what they look like when they come out, because I have never used almond flour to make eggplant parmesan. So it should be very interesting. In the meantime, this is the second batch of eggplant with the almond flour. I went ahead and I breaded the eggplant with the regular breadcrumb. So then once these are done, we'll be able to fry up these eggplant. I want to show you what they look like coming out of the oil, the almond ones. So this is what they look like using the almond flour. We have a few more cooking in here right now, but you can see it looks like breadcrumb to me. They're a little lighter, and I did put paper towel just to absorb more of the oil that could come off of here, because there's nothing worse than greasy eggplant. So there's the almond floured eggplant. I want to show you, see, there's a lot of oil still left in the pan. It didn't absorb a lot of oil, and we're letting drain excess oil right onto the paper towel. Now we're going to start frying the eggplant that has the breadcrumb on it, seasoned breadcrumb. I'll start my frying. So the eggplant's done. I want to show you. Now you can see the difference between the breadcrumb and the almond flour, but I have to tell you, they both smell absolutely delicious. And now we're going to assemble. Okay, so we're going to take some of my homemade sauce. Now you can use any sauce that you like, but I'll tell you what I do. I brown a little garlic in some olive oil and a little bit of onion, and I do all my herbs, my basil, you could use fresh or dry, and I let it cook, and then I throw in my tomatoes, and these are plum tomatoes, and I squish them up, I know, and then I make my sauce. But you don't have to go through all that work. You could just buy your favorite tomato sauce. What I'm doing now is I'm just laying a little bit of sauce on the bottom of the pan, not a lot, just a little bit. And I'll show you what that looks like in just a sec, because I don't want you to put so much sauce on the layers, because you don't have to. Okay, so let me just show you. See what I mean? Just a fine layer of sauce. And we're going to do one half with the breadcrumb, and the other half we're going to do with the almond flour. So let's start with because they're a little bit more cooler, we're going to start with the almond flour on one side. I overlap, but I'll show you when I put a layer in what I'm talking about. Okay, let me show you what I mean. Do you see what I mean? I overlap them. I want to taste that eggplant. And then what I'm going to do, I have, this is 8 ounces of fresh mozzarella. Of course, you can buy your favorite mozzarella. I cut a few pieces off, so it's about 4 ounces. And I'm going to layer that in between the layers of both sides of my eggplant. So now I'm just going to take a little bit more sauce. And if you notice, I'm being really gingerly when I put the sauce on it. Not a lot of sauce. I don't put a lot. I'll put more at the end, but I don't put a lot between the layers. And then we're going to just take some of this beautiful Parmesan cheese, and we're just going to layer that in. Look, it looks like snow, doesn't it? So pretty. Not even a tablespoon. And then we're going to continue layering. Oh, that looks heavenly. Just so it's, oh, you know what, guys, too, you might be asking me, Denise, how do we know when the eggplant is actually done and when we're frying it? It will be fork tender. So you'll be able to stick a fork in and it'll come right out and it will be fork tender. Now I'm just going to repeat with a little bit more sauce. It's perfect. A little bit more cheese over here. I don't think I put, well, that's all right. That's okay. There is no big science to this, right? Put a little bit more Parmesan. And we're going to repeat with another layer on top. Wow, that looks great. And I have to say, it smells absolutely delicious. I'm going to show you what it looks like. Ooh, let's put one more. There we go. That's one side. That's using almond flour. And now we're going to put a little bit more sauce right on the top. I could have waited, but that's okay. Now we're going to take our breaded eggplant and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to stack it on an angle. It comes together really quick. Then we're going to take some fresh mozzarella and we're going to put that on it. And we're going to put a little cheese on it. There we go. And then we're going to put some more sauce. Again, not too much. There we go. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to stack it and layer it. There we go. I hope you guys can see it all. I just want to make sure I'm showing to you. See how beautiful it is? It really is. I'm not being perfect. I don't have to be perfect to make this. You don't have to be perfect to make it. Now it's all in there. And I'm just going to add, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to add some sauce on top. Now the sauce comes into play, right? A little sauce on top. Doesn't that look fabulous? Oh, I put a little carrot in with my sauce, guys. Just like a half a carrot. It just takes the acid out of the tomatoes. Instead of using sugar to put in, you could put a little piece of carrot inside and it will help with the acidity. Acidity, did I say it right? Now we're going to take the remainder of the mozzarella and we're going to sprinkle that on top. There we go. Oh my goodness, it looks just perfect and fabulous. And there, again, no science to this. And then we're going to take some more of the Parmesan cheese and we're going to sprinkle it on top. And I will show you. I have a 350 oven already preheated. Oh, that looks splendid. I am not going to cover this. I'm just going to put it in the oven just like this. And we're going to pop it in. And when it comes out, it's going to be all bubbling and hot. 45 minutes, and then we're going to taste. Well, I pulled it out of the oven. Doesn't it look spectacular? Now, it's really super hot, so we're going to let it cool. Gives me time to go outside and play with my babies. It's cooled. This is going to be the almond floured keto side, which I definitely want to try. I'm so excited. Oh, it looks fabulous. Ooh, it's a little hot. Oh my goodness. Let's get the whole piece out. There we go. Oh my God. Oh my God. Hello. Doesn't that look great? Oh my gosh. And I'm back. Now you get to see me. I know. It's not that pleasant. But, hello. Oh my goodness. It's very hot. Can you smell it? Look at this. Perfect. Do you see why I didn't want to put a lot of sauce? Otherwise it gets drowned in sauce. But I cannot wait to try it with the almond flour. It is hot. Oh, that is really, really good. Really good. I'm taking another piece of that. That is super delicious, guys. That, honestly, this, if you didn't tell somebody that you used almond flour to make eggplant parmesan and you never said a word to them, they would never know. Seasoning that almond flour is everything. It is so good. Texturally, it's the same. I really would not know any better. Tender, delicious, moist. You must try this. You really need to. If you're somebody that's on a gluten-free diet, honestly, you are not going to know the difference. Oh, I'm so excited because I never made this before with almond flour. I'm going to finish this. Until I see you all the next time, be kind to one another. That's really all that matters. And I am so going to enjoy this, but off camera, just so that you know. I also have string beans and garlic and a big salad. So have a great day, everybody. I hope you give almond flour a try to make eggplant parmesan. And if you have gluten-free issues, you can have no problem with this. Wow. You can really come and join me. So good. Bye-bye.